Dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign.
Well.
Well. Welcome to TalkBox.
Welcome to TalkBox. Oh man, it's what's weird.
I miss you, bro.
There's something about
Say it back.
saying.
Hold on, say it back.
There's something
No,
about.
seriously. Seriously, say it back.
Yeah, I miss you too. I
Thanks.
miss you
It's
too.
been a while.
Can I not put my leg up? How do we feel about me putting my leg?
Put your leg down right now. Sorry, I'm trying not to curse as much. Thanks for watching, Mom.
Oh man. It's so funny. Oh man. So,
We haven't seen each other in a minute.
dude, well, we see each other all the time. We
Yeah,
haven't filmed in a minute.
We literally saw each other for the first time yesterday.
That's true.
In almost like 2
okay,
weeks.
I guess.
In almost 2 weeks.
Oh man, hold on. Let me do that. Let me do like a proper intro.
Yeah. Let's get into the intro.
This is TalkBox. This is, dude. There's something weird,
This is
like
TalkBox.
because it's the intro and it's my voice and your voice. It's almost like
It should
when
be
I
happening at the
when
same
I
time.
say it, it feels like a little magical.
Welcome to TalkBox.
TalkBox. Is it the TalkBox or TalkBox?
No, it just has to be TalkBox.
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 Okay.
TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox. TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox.
Okay. It can be loose. It can be free.
Okay. TalkBox.
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 Okay.
TalkBox.
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 This is
TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox. TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox. This is TalkBox.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Not
That's pretty
bad
good.
Yeah. This is TalkBox. I'm Narek
And I am Matchi.
Matchi.
Today's a special episode.
Very special episode.
I am feeling a little under the weather.
You are?
Do you not hear my voice right now?
You always sound congested.
No way, dude. It's bad. I was like
You are-
hawking up phlegm this morning.
That's awesome. I love sitting next to you.
Crazy. I blew this might be TMI. I blew a snot rocket in the shower,
Yeah.
hit the ground, thud. Like actually, like I felt it shake the floor. Of
Went
the
through the
shower.
ceiling down to the next floor.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's
So
what I'm dealing with today.
right now we're rushing this episode out. So today is Wednesday, February 7th.
Yeah.
On Sunday,
Mhm.
there was a huge music event.
Huge media event,
Yeah, the Grammys.
the Grammys.
And neither of us were at the Sunday Grammys at the Crypto.com arena.
But we did learn something
I was a
new.
little bit.
We did learn something new, which is that the Grammys is not just one thing.
Yeah.
The Grammys is a long chain of events that happen throughout the entire week, starting
Entire
from like
week.
Tuesday.
I went to my first event on Wednesday. I'm not sure if they started
Yeah,
before that.
there are so many Grammys events where people are handed awards and recognition.
Yeah.
And, just I had no idea.
So I knew that on the day of the Grammys,
Mhm.
only half of the show is televised.
Oh, really?
So like they give out,
Oh, yeah, because they give out a
specifically,
ton of awards.
there was something like Jacob Collier won one a few years ago.
Yeah.
And there's a
He won
clip
one yesterday.
Oh, did he?
Or he won one at the. I thought I saw him
That
post
man's-
something
that
with the
man's
Grammys.
crazy.
Yeah.
But he I remember him it might have been his first Grammy. He runs up to the stage and there's it's like the audience is completely empty basically.
Oh, that's
It's just like a funny clip of him running up.
yeah, but I was gonna say it was probably a really long event.
Yeah, but so I knew that the Grammys weren't fully televised,
Mhm.
but I didn't know that there was a full week of untelevised events.
That being said, me and Matchi, separately, completely two different paths. Although
Yeah.
we do work together and we have projects that are together, somehow ended up at the same exact event, both working one of the Grammys events.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, it's,
Absolutely insane that we actually went to the same exact event doing two completely separate things with two different people,
Yeah.
two different companies.
and it was crazy because we were both almost hired around the same time, and then like Narek is texting me, "Are you going to this event?" I'm like, "I don't know." I have
has
like a
no
half,
idea
I have like
what's
half of an
going on.
itinerary. I don't have addresses or anything. He's like, "It's here." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. We'll see."
And then I'll tell you how the way I knew is that our event was for the Black Music Collective. So that was the event that I was at, that I was preparing for all week. I did rehearsals for like 3 days and then we ended up doing the main show, whatever. But I knew that he was there because there's like assigned seating, there's table numbers, I'm like, there's no way this guy's getting into this one, And when I first went down there, it's 2 floors underground. So you immediately lose service. So I texted Matchi like 3 times. I'm like, did you make it? Did you make it? And then my texts weren't going through. I'm like, there's no way he's in the building right now. There's no way
the
he's
thing
here.
was, you were texting me beforehand on the same day, like on that
No,
day.
right before. And then when you lost service.
And so I was like, I wonder how he got service down here. And then I was
got the
like,
Wi-Fi.
I was like, should I be asking security for Wi-Fi?
No. I think I got it from one of my
I
coworkers.
was tempted. Anyway,
So
okay.
let's go into like what we did,
Yeah.
what our roles were.
Let me do a little preamble.
Yeah.
Because this, not only was it important that we were working the same event, working through completely different avenues, but Narek was working live sound and I was working photography, which is crazy because when me and Narek met, Narek was not doing live sound. Were you?
No, not at all.
Narek was not doing live sound and I was not doing photography.
It's only been like a year. It's only been like a year.
It's been less than a year that I've been doing professional photography.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. And it's been less than a year that you've been doing live sound.
Yeah. Half the amount of time maybe.
That's
or
crazy.
a bit more, maybe like 7 months, 8 months.
Sure. But yeah, I think the best way to do it is just to go through the experiences, right?
Oh
We
man.
just talk about it.
So you're there for videography, photography. I'm there for live sound. Let's get into your
You want to do me first?
Let's go into you, yeah.
Me
Let's go into-
first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mine's longer though.
Is it?
Yeah.
You go.
Okay.
I always talk too much on the episodes.
That's
I
true.
I want to hear you.
That's true.
I want to hear you talking.
Oh man, I've been thinking about what to say.
By the way,
like how to
both of
word
us,
this.
both of us. One thing we did share in common, although he did video, I did audio, equally exhausted, equally the most exhausting weeks of our lives, and we both needed multiple days to recover.
Yeah.
I saw no one for like 2 days after that. I slept. I'll say it after.
I was given 1 day of recovery, by the way. I just want to say that.
I put him back.
Narek had multiple days of recovery. I had 1 day.
I had a little bit more physical labor than he did, but it's okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Let me actually start there with the exertion, because I think more important than working the Grammys
Yeah.
was us getting hired to work the Grammys,
Yeah.
right? Like so for me, I don't know if this is the best way to go about it, but like when I was like literally a year ago, maybe even a month ago, I was always striving to reach the same level of work ethic that I had senior year of high school.
Oh, okay.
And that was me waking up at 5 a.m. And going to 0 hour band and then working all day on like AP, like at a full AP workload.
Yeah.
And then, just doing homework all day,
Mhm.
right? And then playing video games after.
Nice.
And so I was like, man, I want to get to a point where I'm working, like I'm waking up at 5 a.m. and working. And like for me, I realized this in the last week, that the reason that I can't find that same kind of work ethic is that it's very hard for me to be self-motivated. And it's very hard for me to work on things on my own. And so for the last week with the
You've been alone.
Grammys, I've been hired by someone. And so I've been held responsible for, taking photos of someone.
Yeah.
And so that kind of responsibility really drove me where I did like multiple 20-hour days, which is by far the most I've ever worked. Like I was thinking about this on the drive over too. There's never been a point where I've had to wake up, immediately get dressed and then go to work and then work all day.
Not come home.
And then come home, work, sleep, and then
Work in the car,
do it again
sleep in the
next day.
car, wake up at your apartment, sleep in the
Yeah.
apartment, work at your it's like crazy.
But okay, so I'll get into what I did. So I was doing event photography. And so the important thing to note about how I got hired is connections and networking, which is the biggest advantage of living in LA.
You did a free gig actually.
Yeah, well,
That's how
I
you did
thought
it.
it was free.
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
it was free
initially, and the,
So
the
I went
initial incentive was free.
Yeah. So I went in. My friend was like, "Hey, can you shoot this party?" I was like, "Sure."
He's a DJ. You were
Yeah.
shooting him at the party.
Yeah.
You were shooting
he
him
texted me,
at the party.
He texted me the day before. I was like, "What is the event?" He's like, "It's 12 to 12." I'm like, "That's crazy." Sure, I'll do it. And so I showed up, and then I networked, and a few weeks later, I get this text, and it's like, "Hey, I loved your photos."
You also ended up not just taking pictures of the DJ, but you took pictures of everyone.
Sure.
It was a birthday party. You took pictures of the birthday boy, his wife, the rest of the the people at the party.
Yeah.
You did both film and digital photography, right?
Yeah.
And then you edited them and
Yeah.
sent them as a favor.
I did them as a favor. Listen, people that shoot on film know that film is expensive. I shot 3 rolls of Portra 400, which is the most expensive film stock, and I think it was like 25% of what I got paid was just the cost of film.
Damn, that's crazy.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, I was doing it for fun, and I was doing it for essentially what I thought was going to be free, you know? And so a few weeks later, I got the text. It was like, hey, can you like come with me to the Grammys? I'm like, what? What?
So you ended up getting hired by one of the people at the party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because they loved your pictures, and they also, it was their party.
Yeah.
It was their party. So they also were like, I'll take care of you. You ended up getting paid for the job.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You
I know the story better
my-
than Matchi. This guy's still dazed and confused, man.
I'm not kidding. I am dazed and confused. But, you know, going into it, they told me that I needed a suit. So I didn't have a suit.
Which is something you don't think about. I might need a suit.
And,
Why the hell would I need
like,
a suit?
You know, like on the outside looking in, it's like, oh, all these people are dressed fantastically, especially the women in their like crazy
dresses.
And like, you know, I can't just show up in pants.
It would have literally been this.
I'm not
Whatever
kidding.
You guys, whoever's watching this, it's whatever Machi's wearing right now.
You don't understand. I went to the party that I shot last month.
Like this?
Like this.
You don't look bad, but you're a casual
sure,
guy.
It's casual.
guy.
It's casual. And so casually they told me, they were like, oh, you need a blazer, by the way, you know. And I'm like, what?
It's like my entire cost for this event is gonna be me purchasing this suit right now.
And so
and
like,
shirts and shoes potentially.
And so the like 2 weeks leading up to the week of the Grammys, I like went and sourced a suit, and it was maybe the most stressful thing I've ever done. Like just going around all of LA.
Yeah, trying to find something.
That's something.
Not like a $2,000.
Oh my gosh.
And like fits you, and then has to also get tailored.
I'm a big guy, so like it's not easy to just go to a store and find a suit. But I got the suit. I had to rent a lens as well. So I was running to Pasadena, running to North Hollywood, running to Sherman Oaks. I was all over.
We didn't see each other for 2 weeks. We literally didn't see each other for 2 weeks.
Maybe the most stressful lead up.
Yeah.
And the thing that I want to talk about is how stressed I was, how anxious I was going into it. And what I was thinking about was what I've talked about on the podcast before, which is this idea of doing your best and like the idea of failing, where I was so worried that I was going to fail, but then like I would flip back and forth where I was like, you know what? The best I can do is the best I can do. And then I was like, but if I fail, then I'm a failure. But then the best I can do, literally back and forth. Hold on, I took a video. Let me show you this video. I'll throw it up in the podcast too. Filled with anxiety right now. Just like, this sucks. This sucks. That was me before leaving for the first event.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And it was just like the deepest anxiety that I think I've probably ever had.
Yeah, it's big. You show up to these events and it's very intimidating. It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
Everyone is dressed very nice. Everyone is held in very high regard within their community and within the work that they do.
Well, not only that, you know what you're working.
Yeah, you also feel, exactly. And like you feel out of place. If that's not something you regularly go to, the people that you're regularly around, like you feel very out of place, you know? Sort of like what's that thing? The imposter syndrome kind of thing. And that's what the anxiety comes from, is like, you know, am I capable of doing this? Luckily for me, it was a different situation, sort of. You know, there's still moments. There certainly were moments like that, but it was different once it came to show day. You know, but I could only imagine how stressful it was for you. Just like everything is sort of hanging on your shoulders with the pictures and the editing, and it has to get done in a very timely manner, very fast. Day of,
very fast turnarounds.
Hundreds of pictures.
I was doing like 4-hour turnarounds on edits. But so day one, I go to the first event. And I took photos and I met some people and it was good.
Mhm.
You know, it ended up working out. It was just one evening event, so I was
Right.
like, I wasn't super tired or anything.
Right.
And I got home, I edited photos, sent them off, woke up the next morning, went to the next event, and then day 2 was 2 events.
Mhm.
And um, the morning event went perfectly fine, perfectly fine. And then the night event this is on Thursday,
Yeah.
was the Black Music Collective.
Yeah. That was the
And
event we were at.
my perspective going into it, I think the biggest thing was that there were some people that I had taken photos of on day 1,
Mhm.
and they came up to me and they recognized me and they were like, "Hey, I saw the photos you took of me on day 1. You are the best photographer here."
This is verbatim.
I was like, "There's no way. There's no way I'm the best photographer here."
This is
And,
not
like,
Machi trying to gas himself
I'm
up. We
swear I'm
have
not. You know what I'm
receipts.
saying?
maybe better phrasing than what you just said.
It actually was better too. Like
This
the
is the
way that
best
it came
picture
across,
someone has ever taken of me.
like no, literally, and like that feeling was just so good. And like for the rest of the week, I didn't have that anxiety about like
Well, your capabilities at
about
least. Yeah.
my artistic abilities as a photographer.
You know what's crazy? Someone asked me a question. I was in this like professional setting where someone asked me a question about like what you like about engineering. And one of the answers that I gave was, and this pertains to all creative art, the feeling that you get when you surpass someone's expectations is something that is incredibly special. And it's not, you can't redo that feeling any other way. You know what I mean? It's very gratifying being able to show what you can do, especially to someone who doesn't know you, and having it completely surpass what they thought is possible.
Yeah.
And it creates these new ideals and it creates these new standards that they have in their mind because you are their new standard. You know, that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's the biggest gift and biggest compliment you can get as a creative artist.
Wow. Yeah. So I guess the biggest thing for me is that my experience throughout the week, Narg worked Monday through Thursday. I worked Wednesday through Sunday. So we almost had the same amount of days of working. But my experience was obviously more artistic and my skills as a photographer, and yours was more what?
It was labor intensive and it was a lot of setting up. Oh man, I'll get into it.
No, I just wanted to hear
Yeah.
that, just the basis of it.
It was
because-
very labor. The core of my job was very labor intensive. That's how live sound is. It's very labor intensive.
Yeah.
So we had to constantly be moving things. We had to constantly be changing the what's it called? The itinerary, like the show day setup was constantly changing. So we didn't even know what was going to happen. So we had to prepare for a bunch of things. And then we were in charge of setting up the entire soundstage in the rehearsal studio, or the entire stage itself in the rehearsal studio. And then the night before, collapsing that and taking it to the event, which was in Century City, which is like 45 minutes away, and setting up there until like 1 in the morning. And that, it took us like 6 hours to set up the first day. So it took us an equal amount of time the next day. So I left at like 12 in the morning and then we continued setting up until like 2 p.m. the next day. I got there at 8 in the morning. So it was just like very, very labor intensive. But on top of the labor intensive, the exhaustion, you have to be able to remember every single input, everything that's going wrong. You have to know how to troubleshoot. There are like 120 inputs, by the way. You have to know everything. Things are soft patched. So like number 1 on a label could be input 35. You know, these are all labeled things, but also you might switch out 35 because it's not working anymore. And now you run like a home run line directly from wherever the source to the main input. Like it's crazy. There's so much going on, and I somehow ended up in charge of all the inputs on the stage. And it was by far the most stressful thing I've ever done, but I really, really rose up to the occasion. I'll tell you about that later when it's sort of my time. But how did it finish off for you? How did you feel? What was the tiredness, the exhaustion? What was it like for you?
So one of the biggest takeaways was, even coming out of the whole week, was my ability to trust myself as a photographer now. And it's almost like I go back and look at photos that I took in the last 3 months. I'm like, wow, these are better than I thought they were.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a better photographer than I
Yeah.
thought I was. And getting through the whole week, working these super long days, it was mentally and physically.
It's mentally and
a
physically
lot.
draining. But I also, when we were on the phone together, I was
Yeah.
telling you how important it is to have these kinds of days so that the way that you work,
Yeah.
for example, if you're used to editing pictures 3 minutes per picture, now you can get it down to, not that you have to get it down to this point or speed, but during a time of necessity, you can potentially, edit pictures a minute each, 30 seconds each, just getting the job done. You know what I mean? For someone that needs it done that second.
Yeah.
So it teaches you how to work fast and efficiently. It's vital to being someone that is taking pictures in the moment, especially for event photography. So it's important to be able to get a good shot very fast with a lot of different variables being added to the situation.
And the best thing too is just like, honestly, the contrast. We've talked about this before. As an artist, as a creative, you're choosing this life because you need more excitement. Like you can't just like get by with a 9 to 5 and be
Because you
fulfilled in life.
can do a 9 to 5 and be a photographer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
or do something like, you can do it as it's very viable to do any of these things as a passion. It's actually more enjoyable to do it just as like a passion project.
Right.
I know people that do that, they are much happier.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have a
But
stable job.
I'm saying that people that like aren't doing passion projects.
Yeah,
on the
you're
side,
sick in the head if you do
like,
it.
But what I'm
You're
saying is that
sick.
like,
if you're us, you're sick.
as a person fully pursuing a creative career full time, you want those highs, but you can't get the highs without getting the
Can't
lows.
get it without the lows,
And
man.
like, there were so many lows and so many highs in the last week.
It's
But, like-
so draining. It's so draining.
Coming out of it, it almost like it puts you at like a higher level where you're like, okay, I've been to my lowest point.
Yeah.
Like,
You understand. Yeah, you have a better understanding.
yeah,
You have a better understanding.
There's nothing that I can do editing this podcast or cutting clips
Yeah.
or working
Yes,
or
yes, yes.
making my resume or fixing my portfolio that will
Yes.
come anywhere near to what I went through in the last week.
The thick skin that it builds
Yeah.
is crazy. I remember, that being said, you feel anxiety because of the amount of work that there is, the short amount of time, the turnovers, like me included, and the expectations of other people, but you don't take it to heart anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's also like you have to have the mentality of like, I don't know, for me at least, it's more of a stoic mentality of like, this job, if I don't have it tomorrow, if I get fired right now, this is not going to change my life. Me working the Grammys is not going to change my life. None of these things actually matter. There's like core things in my life that actually hold intrinsic value. Those are the things that matter to me. A job, you being hungover or upset about a job, it's never going to matter because in the course of your life, there's so many things that could happen. We could end up not doing this. You know what I mean? I could quit tomorrow and be fulfilled and happy with my life. I don't want work to be the thing that fulfills and makes me happy day to day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though it does do that to a certain degree, but I'm certainly not going to let it ruin my life.
And I think that's a huge thing to point out is like the separation of personal and professional feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to do that when you're not pursuing your passion as a job. Like, I know people that are, mechanical engineers.
Right.
And it's easy for them to separate their personal life from their professional life.
Yeah, of course.
But when you're doing something creative,
It intertwines.
It's infinitely harder.
That's why you have to learn how to have those boundaries. And you only get those boundaries by getting like so upset and so emotionally distraught at work that you have to be like, you have to create that separation or you will not last. You will not last a month. To a certain degree, it's like you're like a masochist, like that it comes with suffering and that it comes with troubles and anxiety, but you learn how to get past it. All the things that I've done have led up to other opportunities that I'm very grateful for. And honestly, all the suffering that I've gone through or whatever you want to call it, it does surmount to something. So it's paid off for me. I don't know if it'll pay off for someone else, but I like to think that it adds on to things. If you're a proactive person, if you're going after things and people see what you've done with your life and what you've gone through, they respect that. And honestly, the thing that I've had the most going for me, I'm not saying I'm a good person, but I'm just using this in quotations of like being a good person and doing the things that you do with the people you're around and people seeing what kind of person you are. That is what has got me the furthest in my life. Not my abilities as an audio engineer, not my abilities to remember inputs. That has never amounted to anything, literally anything. No one's ever complimented me for that. They've been like, bro, you're busting your ass. Literally, the stage manager is telling me this. You know what I mean? Like, who is in connection with the band, which is a massive band and musical director. So like, it was just, I just realized what the priorities of life were and what takes you where. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways,
I think going into creative fields, and this is the same thing that happened when I went into college, where you'll hear how difficult something is.
Yeah.
And for me, with my ego, I'll take it as like a challenge. And I'll be like, okay, this is difficult. Like, this makes me more excited going into it, knowing how difficult it is.
That's funny.
But then when I actually...
Like, this is not exciting.
When I actually get to the difficult parts, I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I dropped out of engineering. I dropped out of industrial engineering in college. I stopped pursuing production as my only thing. Music production.
Music production, yeah.
And, you know, it's nice to sit here and be like, okay, I've reached that point with photography where I've gone through this difficult moment and I'm out on the other side. And I'm like, okay, this was difficult, but I'm still here. So that's a personal win. That's a personal win.
It is.
Because I lived in fear for the last like 5 years or 6 years where it's like, am I actually capable of doing anything difficult or do I just wash out? It's like gifted kid syndrome.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I never had any challenges growing up because I was, you know, I picked up on things easier and I learned easier. That like I never had to face any of the difficulties that a lot of people had to face. So like reaching this and getting out through it has been, you know, really rewarding for me personally, just to be able to say that I did it and to say like for myself, you know.
I feel that way about a lot of the things that I go through as well, honestly. And it's funny because I think I was watching an interview about the founder, CEO, I think it was NVIDIA or AMD.
Okay.
NVIDIA. And they were saying, he's like a billionaire, right? He's literally like a billionaire. And pretty young guy. They were asking him, was it worth it? Like, what was this whole process? You know, like, are you happy?
Yeah.
And essentially, the guy was like, it was not worth it. It will never be worth it. He's like, the amount of work and stress is unimaginable. We never knew creating this. And they're like, oh, then why did you do it? He's like, because when you do this, you could have never imagined. You couldn't fathom the amount of stress that you'd be under. You couldn't fathom the little amount of time that you would have. And there's days where my family we're not under the same stress as the people. Let me be very clear as the CEO of NVIDIA, but you know, we're also like young and, you know, doing something quite different. But we do our own relative stress that other people just don't experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just, and at work, people don't yell at you if you work a 9-to-5 job. Like, they might yell at you, but like not in the way that I'm describing. You know what I mean? The things that are being done, it's just it's more on a personal matter, and that's why you have to say, you know, separate personal and business.
Yeah.
Because if you work for a professional company, your boss yells at you, you can. I'm sure some people's bosses yell at them.
But the corporate communication level is
different.
Very
That's what I'm
different.
trying to get across. So the stress that you get put under, you didn't know that you could take on that kind of stress until you deal with it. And then I'd go home some days after work. I'm not joking. I'd have days where I'm working 15 to 16 hours. I get home at 1 a.m. I wake up 4 or 5 a.m. and then I work another full day, 16 hours.
Yeah.
Like, that has happened multiple times. And I go home after my family sees me the next 2 days after that, they go like, what's wrong? And you don't understand what happens to your brain when you experience, and those 2 days are filled with labor and sometimes little food, you know, like you don't understand what your brain goes through during that process. And that's why I'm saying you couldn't fathom the anxiety, the stress, because there's an after effect to all of these things. It comes with depression. Natural depression. Your brain can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
The dopamine can't keep up. You need to rest.
Your body can't too. Like
your body cannot
like,
keep up.
my nervous system was failing, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
just started to throw up, like randomly. Like I would start just dry heaving throughout the day, and like before I would get in the Uber to go to the event, I like threw up, like a couple times.
Yeah, it's
like, halfway through the week.
It's literally insane. And they look at me. They're like, "What's wrong? Like, did something happen? Did someone, you know?" I'm like, "No, I just can't. I can't do anything today." And I cancel sessions sometimes. I'm like, sorry, I actually can't see another human. I cannot communicate with another human being right now.
Narek tried to schedule the podcast with me. He calls me and he goes, "So when do you want to?" I was like, "Do not speak to me."
Yeah, he wouldn't.
I actually,
wouldn't. I tried for like 2 minutes. I tried scheduling a podcast.
I cannot figure it out. Like my brain, literally, like even now,
Yeah.
I'll tell the same stories to people. I'll be like, "Have I told this to you before?"
Yeah.
Like I'm losing it. I'm like, am I saying the same things over and over?
Wednesday and Thursday, I worked like 33 hours.
That's crazy.
Just those 2 days.
Yeah.
And
okay, wait. Give me your perspective now, because we've gone through mine fully.
Yeah. So when you see these shows, they have to be rehearsed, right? So like there's rehearsals for 3 days. Monday.
Should we give background on what the show was? Will that help?
Well, the Black Music Collective was essentially like a ceremony and awards and recognition that were given to
Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, like successful legacy and like Black artists.
Right.
Essentially, right? I think that was for the most part. I was very zoned in on what my job was, so I forgot. But
I was having a great time.
People who got awards were like Lenny Kravitz, Mariah Carey.
That's it.
Stevie Wonder performed. Yeah. Tori Kelly. There was a lot of cool people. A lot of cool. Quavo
Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes, Quavo, yeah.
George Clinton. That was crazy. You know George Clinton?
No.
Oh, he's like a huge, like the father of funk.
Oh, yeah. I saw that dude. I didn't know who he was. He was really cool. He was really cool.
He's like, he's up there.
Yeah.
He crazy.
So I was able to, experience all these things during rehearsals and then obviously show day. But so I had Monday through Wednesday was rehearsal. So we had to load in all of our equipment at this rehearsal studio, set up, and then I was directly under this other engineer who does not work with our company, but he's contracted by the band to work there. So I essentially had to do everything that he told me. It was like, it was stressful. It was stressful troubleshooting all the time. It was stressful. The schedule was constantly changing, and the acts work, everything was changing all the time. So it was very difficult to keep up, which is normal. Things change for these events all the time.
Yeah.
But keeping up with it was very difficult, and change was very difficult. Whatever, we did the rehearsal for 3 days. I was already very stressed out during the rehearsals. And then that last night, they added something. So my coworker had to leave and set up at like 5-6 in the morning at the venue, like all day, for an additional band that was being added. Anyways, so it was basically me and another guy, and then we had to tear down the entire stage the last day, right? I'm not even going to go about the details about the rehearsal, it doesn't matter. But that was also equally, I learned a lot, but it was stressful. We had to tear down that day. It was 3 of us. We tore down basically the entire room, probably within an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then I drove to Century City, and we set up at the hotel. And then I left, and I got maybe 4 hours of sleep. Woke up at like 6 in the morning to drive in traffic to go to Century City. I got there around like 8 o'clock, and then we set up until like 2 p.m. And then we did rehearsals there. And I naturally, just because someone came up to me, he's like, listen, a lot of these guys are newer. Some of them don't know what's going on. He was like the band manager, stage director kind of thing. It's like, I need you to be on top of it today. I was like, why? Why always? Have you seen that? Why always me?
No.
It's like an athlete. Yeah, he's doing like, he lifts his shit up. He goes, why always me? Whatever. So I took on a lot of responsibility that day.
Well, like what kind of responsibility did you take on?
I was in charge of, so all the instruments. Oh man, I can't even. I'm afraid that when I communicate it, no one's gonna know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
All the instrument inputs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very basic about it, even though it's a little more complicated than just inputs. All the snakes, all the instrument inputs, I was in charge of getting them to the right place that they were in rehearsal, because it needs to be the exact same. All the microphones that the artists have, they're connected to these things called hotshot. So you click on the hotshot, it's like a pedal, and the line opens up. So it's closed. And it only goes to the monitor engineer who's controlling all the sound on stage, all the in-ears, all the monitors. That's what the monitor engineer controls. So they can all communicate with each other. That's why you have those. So the band can talk to one another. That's why they have microphones. It's not to sing. So just in case they need something, they're talking into it. And the music director, is on stage with us. So I was in charge of bass. So if anything doesn't work, I am the one being called to take care of it. This microphone's not working. Okay, let's change the microphone. Still, there's a buzzing noise in the line. Okay, let me change the cable. Still buzzing noise. I unplug it. Still a buzzing noise. Let's go to the splitter where all the sources are being split. Up, line is clear. Okay, now figure out how to get me that line without any of the buzz noise on it. You know, like stuff like that. And that would take me like 10 minutes. I'm stripping sweat trying to reach on this cramped stage behind a drum mic, you know, whatever. So like we troubleshooting like on the spot, things that weren't happening 2-3 days ago.
That
right?
might be more anxiety inducing than what I just went through.
Oh, that's nothing. I
No,
can't.
like,
I can't. Wait
you even explaining it to me is more.
yeah, I'm in charge of getting every single artist that's going up to perform their specific microphone and then communicating that with front of house through a comms. I have 2 comms. I have one like football coaches. I have one on my right ear and another earpiece on my left, and I'm getting communications from the band and the monitor engineer on my left and front of house and another guy on the right. And I have to separately communicate to both of them the entire show to tell them which microphone is going out, when to activate it, which artist is going up next. And I have to make sure all the artists have their belt packs that are working correctly so that they can hear themselves when they sing. So that is my job. And switching out stage. When we need to break down and switch out stage, I'm helping out with that as well.
Jesus Christ.
Whatever. So all this stuff happens. The show went great. The show went fine. It was really like last minute things were going on and we took care of it as best as we could.
Let me say, I went to, Narg was at one event.
Yeah.
I went to maybe 10 events. It was by far the best event.
Oh, nice.
It was so cool.
Thanks. It was a really cool, the lineup of the artists was really, really cool. So, and they were all excellent singers. They were all amazing. Like, I couldn't believe how good they were in rehearsals.
There was one specifically, Gabby Simone.
Gabby Simone.
I looked her up on Spotify.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing.
Yeah, she's for sure signed or something though, because she's incredible.
I didn't take any videos of her singing.
Her live singing, just perfect. Like this. She's super young, I think, but she was like, she sounded like a matured professional singer. You
the
know,
way
like,
she was belting the high notes, I was like,
my goodness,
this is impeccable.
Yeah,
like, actually
flawless performance and a beautiful song. I forgot the song was, but it was a beautiful song. Anyways, so there was a complication all the way at the end that I had to take care of, and Matchi got like a little clip of it in the stands. It was like, you know, things naturally happen with like wireless microphones and stuff. So like Matchi got a clip of it in the stands, but it was actually the most stressful 10 seconds in my life. I thought it lasted like an hour. Like I got onto stage and had to fix like a weird issue that happened, and everyone is literally just staring at me, and Matchi caught a little glimpse of it, and I was so happy that he got it because it was the most traumatizing moment of my life. You couldn't imagine what was going on, the comms that were going on in my ears.
I see this guy walk on the stage wearing all black. He's got 2 earpieces. I'm like,
the belt packs were weighing down my pants. Like my pants were falling. I had 2 heavy belt packs and these earpieces on me. I was like, oh my goodness. Anyway, so after the show was done, which was around like 11 something, right? 11 something o'clock. I had to tear down the stage and load in the truck until I'm on 4 hours of sleep. 4 hours of sleep. I had to tear down the stage and load in the truck until 2:30 in the morning. I was walking and my ankles, my knees are buckling. I cannot feel my feet. I checked from 12 to 2:30 a.m. I had 6,000 steps. 6,000 the day before I had 23,000 steps.
Yeah.
I'm on a stage. 23,000 steps on a stage, dude. It was
crazy.
It was absurd. It was absurd. I the next day, I don't want to give up all the details because I want to keep the privacy of the event and stuff like that. But we can talk about some of the acts, like some of my favorite moments. But the next day, I woke up at like 10, like pretty early. I woke up at like 10. I slept at maybe 3-4 a.m. By the time I got home, it was like a 40-minute drive with no traffic to get home. I woke up at like 10 a.m. I had brunch or like lunch kind of thing with my sister. And then, which was only like 45 minutes after like an hour I had woken up. I went back to sleep until 5:30 p.m. I slept. I basically slept. I had maybe an hour break when I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
I slept until 5:30 p.m. that day.
Can I say that, like,
And I was still
when
unable
you've
to
been
move.
in that mode, your brain, like the next day when you don't work, your brain is still on that clock.
That's why you also
So you
become.
wake up early.
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
You cannot sleep.
Yeah.
You as much as you think you're gonna sleep, you are not gonna sleep late. You're not gonna sleep in, but you will sleep that day. I was on the couch and I couldn't move a muscle of my body. It's like, oh, let me turn right to sleep on my right side, left. I didn't move a muscle until 5:30 p.m. I could not move. It was the most physically exhausted I have ever. It's not even sore. Sore couldn't even cut the word that I was. It couldn't even cut it. I was so exhausted I couldn't move a muscle on my body, dude.
Like, even because I got done on Sunday, so I was done on Monday morning. I still woke up at 6:30.
Yeah.
And then even this morning, I woke up at like 7.
And your brain, because it's used to so much activity, there's a natural depression that is going to happen when you do not do anything. There's a natural depression that is going to take over. It's brain chemistry. But that being said, it was awesome. I got to see a lot of really cool people.
Yeah.
All of them, very nice. Everyone was every single performer that I saw or interacted with was very nice.
Yeah.
That being said, just to highlight, I mean, it's public record for the show. I'm pretty sure it was like, there's a video of it, but
Sure.
I was like 2 feet away from Stevie Wonder watching him rehearse. And I was like, what is happening? Like, this is something out of everyone that I saw. It's so special that that was just a very special moment for me to be able to see Stevie Wonder like that far away, just watching him mess around on the keys and do like a little rehearsal. Right. And all the other artists. I mean, I saw Erica Campbell, Tori Kelly. I got to, oh my God, my coworker took a video of me putting up a microphone on stage, and it was for Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey's on the stage, just me and Mariah Carey. I was like,
do you
oh
have
my
that
goodness.
video?
I have a picture of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was so funny. I was like, wow. I didn't even look at her. Like, I was so scared to like make eye contact with anyone. I literally just went on stage, put it, and came back. But
I'll throw up. Also, I've probably already done it, but the video of Narek walking out on the stage will be in this video.
Oh my God, it's so
you
scary.
can see it.
But anyways,
wait. Let me say, I mean, I got to see Stevie Wonder perform.
Yeah.
And he was not there to perform. He was there to give the award, to speak, to give the award to Mariah Carey. And he sang half of a song.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was half of one song just as a presentation, like to honor Mariah Carey. And it was my favorite Stevie Wonder song.
It was very beautiful.
Like, the chances of that happening, like that moment, I was like, wow, this is cosmic. I was like, this is my favorite Stevie Wonder song. Like, I remember living in Spokane, like listening to that song on repeat while delivering Domino's pizzas. And like, here I am at this event watching him perform it live.
Yeah, it's awesome. It was awesome. And unfortunately, I was under so much stress that it didn't matter to me who was on stage during the performance. Like, the performance time, it means nothing. Rehearsal was like cooler than that, honestly. But also all the other incredible singers, like there was another band that was performing. Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the drummer, and what was the guy that you said?
George Clinton.
Him, Quavo. They were doing a Lenny Kravitz tribute. They were doing "I Wanna Get Away." That was a really cool. Like, Quavo was singing that song. I'm like, that was cool. That was really fun.
It was so fun.
It was really fun.
Just like the insane auto tune. I was like, this is fun.
It's sick. It was
Should I
really
throw up a video?
You have it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Here it is.
Yeah. So, and then Erica Campbell, Tori Kelly, they were just like such incredible singers.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. It's not about the popularity of the person, but how talented they were when I was listening to them sing.
Yeah.
No one was using any pitch correction. Like, dude, a lot of these singers were just incredible pitch, incredible tone, so professional, so respectful, so nice, so kind. And then I looked up each of them afterwards, just to see what's going on with their pages. And I was like, these people are so kind. You know what I mean? Like, it's and I don't know whether it's difficult to find people like that, but you always hear horror stories about like celebrities and artists and stuff. They were all so kind.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was a great experience. That being said, it was a great experience. I had my own, dealing with it was very difficult in the moment, but I'm very glad that I did it and I got past it. That was the thing that we said the most, is like, I'm so glad I got past it.
Yeah.
We said that so often.
Like, even now, it's still surreal to me.
Yeah, you feel like you're gonna wake up 2 a.m.
that I came out on the other end, and I'm still here.
Yeah, man, it's tiring. It's something different, man. It's something different. But yeah, I took on a crazy job that week. So, but I'm happy it's done, and we both came out better at what we do. And yeah,
How do you feel, like, with your live sound experience before and after?
Mhm.
How do you feel about your abilities? Like, do you feel like you're better? Like what is
Oh my God, it's so crazy. I couldn't even imagine sitting behind a console before I started this job. And I couldn't imagine the complexities of live sound and how many things go wrong all the time.
Yeah.
You've experienced that with me. When you did a show with me, I put on my own show, and it's my abilities by the way, if you want to get better at engineering in general, even mixing on a computer, live sound develops your ears so well. You have to be very cautious about volume. I use earplugs all the time, but just being able to find problem frequencies and your ability to hear balance, hear compression, hear reverb, too much reverb, like all those things in a live setting matter a lot. They all have consequences. Everything you do has a consequence. So being able to develop an ear for that, which I'm not a master at, but I've certainly developed more so than before I started, has drastically helped me with my mixing on a computer, like studio mixing.
Yeah.
Because you do a lot less to get balance. You do a lot less. It's not about like doing a shit ton and getting a ton of plugins. It's like very basic stock plugins that you're using all the time just to get the job done. A lot of the times you need to get the job done, and you need to be able to do it well with the tools that you have. And that is live sound in a
nutshell.
In a nutshell. Thank you. Yeah, it's live sound in a nutshell. Just get it done. That's all they want you to do.
Yeah.
That's all whoever hired you wants you to do.
Yeah.
Get it done. Don't cause any problems.
Yeah.
They don't care what compressor you're using, how bright. Like, you have to be able to discern all those things. If it's too bright, someone's gonna be like, dude, like, what are you doing? By the way, they don't tell you this, but you have to like tune the system every single time you're at a new venue. Every single time you're at it, like you have to, with your ears or with a system, if you have time, tune the PAs so that it's not too bright. You have to make it sound exact. So you have like reference songs, and you EQ the speakers to sound exactly the way that you know them to sound in every other venue. So you have to be able to differentiate that.
Yeah.
And so you do develop a really good ear. And I've done some really cool events. I mean, yeah, I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised after, like you said, I'm glad I got past all of that. And you don't enjoy it in the moment, and you reflect on it afterwards. You're like, damn, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
It's not as glamorous as it is. It's really not a glamorous thing. It's not like, oh my God, I'm here with whoever's performing, right? It's like, you need to get the job done, and you're not worried about who's on stage. You're worried about whether they like your work or not.
But the biggest thing is that in a year or 2 years from now, your nostalgia will kick in, and you'll only remember.
I'll never want to do that again.
You'll only remember the good moments.
Oh yeah, you'll never.
You'll only remember the good moments of it.
It depends. If your experience was overly negative, then you'll remember only the negative experiences.
Sure,
but
sure.
if it had a positive ending to it, like
Yeah.
if you came out of it grateful, then I'm sure you'll remember like the good moments. But honestly, 90% of it is negative moments for me.
Really?
I mean, there aren't many moments that were like not stressful.
Mhm.
There was not many moments where we were joking around. It was a very serious event and a
Yeah.
very short time crunch where we had to get things done.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to think of it in a negative way, but I'm going to think of it in the like hardworking way where
Yeah.
like, damn, we got a lot done. Like
Yeah.
in that kind of positive, like not positive
Right,
happy,
right,
like
right.
positive, in terms of work.
I love hearing that because my experience was just so different.
Yeah.
And like even I checked because I thought I was moving a lot. I was checking my health app.
Yeah.
Steps, do you want to guess?
30,000.
A day. How many a day?
Oh, I have no idea.
Maybe like 8,000.
Oh, really?
You know what they say? The journey of 1,000 steps begins with no. The journey of
What is this
1,000
quote?
miles begins with a single step.
Anyways, yeah, it was fun.
My personal takeaway.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm that. Like, I feel so good about my photography now.
I'm Himothy.
Like, dude, it's actually crazy how inflated my ego is at this
I
moment.
can't wait to get it shot down,
Like,
dude.
like, there's no way, because the biggest issue for me with photography before, with taking portraits and stuff, was just that fear of executing, and that fear of, like, you know, working with the artist,
which I always yelled at you
hires
about.
me.
Yeah,
But now it's like, there's literally no way that anything will ever compare to what I just went through.
I was gonna say, by the way, we got pop filters on these microphones.
Yeah.
And I want to give a quick review of the pod mic, just real quick.
Okay.
2 seconds. Pod mic. Sound quality is fine. I think the top end is a little brittle. The low end is not very.
It's tight, isn't it?
It's fine. It's
Yeah.
not. There's not a lot. There's not as much low end as I would want out of,
Oh, really?
of voice, like of a speaking vocal.
Yeah.
And the top end is a little brittle. It doesn't. The top end doesn't. It doesn't hold well. It doesn't sound good when it moves around. Like, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that, but for the price, it is an excellent microphone. I don't think you would need anything more than this.
Yeah.
I would say do not EQ it too much. If you do anything to the low end on this, your voice is gonna sound very brittle. And remember, if you're a content creator, it's probably gonna go on an iPhone, so you don't need to cut a lot of low end. It's already cutting out a lot of low end on the phone.
Right.
But the one main issue that I had was the plosives, which I'm sure you'll hear in like the next 5 episodes. I apologize. I'll try to get them out.
Yeah.
But a lot of the plosives stay. And the thing with like bad plosives, which is like right? It's like that pop. So I'm hoping that this makes a difference. We'll hear it afterwards.
Yeah.
But I think the number one issue with this microphone was that it was really like sensitive with plosives. Even though there's an internal foam inside of it, it might not be as dense. So I bought this third party, like right there, you might have heard that. I bought this third party pop filter, and hopefully it works well.
But
They sound fine though.
The thing is, we were using SM7Bs before, and the capsule in the SM7B was like back here, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
And like the SM7B
was like a 6-inch separation.
was like there, and then we're speaking over here.
Yeah, so if they moved it back, maybe.
Yeah.
But
the capsule on the pod mic is up
it's
here,
sort of
right?
at the top, I think.
Yeah. I see.
But I must say that if you're wondering for any reason whether an SM7B or this microphone is better, I think the podcast episodes that we had with the SM7B, they sound really good. I really like the way they sound, honestly. As much as I don't want to, because they're like $300-$400.
Yeah.
It's like it's a crazy price for the microphone. It's just a dynamic microphone.
Not only is it expensive, but if you don't have a good audio interface,
yeah, it doesn't
you
push
need
you
a cloud
you need
lifter,
a cloud, which is $100.
which is then also more expensive on top.
Yeah,
of
so
that.
it's definitely worth buying for $100. Just do not do too much to it, or else, I think you're gonna do it, or else I think you're gonna manipulate sound in a way where it's not gonna sound good. Anyways, that is everything that we talked, everything that happened this weekend.
It was it was a brutal week. Do you have any lasting thoughts?
No, please.
Really? You don't have any?
My lasting thought is perseverance and patience.
Oh, dude, wait. We never even said where we are.
Oh, we're at our new studio.
We're at our new studio. Time will tell if we decide to stay here or if we go back to recording in my living room.
Let us know. I think it's much more cozy. I like the couch. I like the guitar in the background.
Well, you like the couch because you don't like sitting up straight, you freaking loser.
My back hurts. There's no back support on that thing.
Yeah,
I feel like this is much more like we're like much more friendly with each other right now.
Sure. I have a lasting thought.
Go ahead.
My brain is fried. I feel like I got maybe through all of my lasting thoughts at the beginning or halfway or whatever.
If you want to reach out to us with any questions or comments that you want us to address on the podcast, or independently, if you have any questions about your career, or if you would even want to ask us that, or about moving here because Matchi moved here, our Instagram handles are, mine is Mixing Waves, so mixing dot waves. Waves is WAVS, like the wave file, and then Matchi.
Mine is Obscure Matchi, OBSCURE MATCHI.
Obscure the way it's spelled, and Matchi is MATCHI.
I went to Macy's to buy a tie as well.
Yeah. Tie?
I called my roommate.
You wore a tie?
Listen. The entire time I wore a tie. I called my roommate. I go, hey, do you have a black tie? He goes, no, why? I go, I need to buy a tie for this weekend, and the ties at Macy's are $75. He goes, yeah, but you spent the amount of money on your suit. I should just say it right. He goes, yeah, but you spent $750 on your suit, and I'm like, yeah. So why would I spend $75 on a tie? He's like, that's girl math. I'm like, how is that girl math that I don't want to spend $75 on a tie? I already spent the $750 on the suit. He's like, yeah, you already did. So
You might as well
buy
get
the tie.
something nice, I
I'm
guess.
like, that's crazy. I was in Sherman Oaks, 20 feet away from the Ross. Walked into the Ross. I bought a $5 tie.
There's something about people from the Northwest and like the South, I feel like, that say the before things, like the Ross, the TJ Maxx.
The Ross that was down the street right there. Listen, $5 for the tie carried me through the week. $5 for the tie instead of $75.
I take it back.
That
You're a
felt
king.
good.
You're a king.
That felt good.
All right.
Good.
Let's
I
wrap
made
it
it
up.
through.
This was great. Thanks
Thank
for
you so
watching,
much.
everyone.
I want you to know that we are rushing this episode out
I have a session in 20 minutes.
because of Narek.
Yeah.
This is Narek.
This is like an
idea.
hour-long episode. This is not rushing.
Rushing it out because we're getting this out same day.
Oh, yeah, we're rushing this out.
Yeah.
I want it to be relevant for the Grammys.
Sure. Yeah, I respect it.
All
I
right.
respect it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching.
If you
enjoyed this episode, leave us a 5-star. Do you want to do it today?
No, I don't know it. I don't know it by heart. Leave us a 5-star review or don't.
Can I say when we
Just lint
started?
all over you.
When we started, we did like reads. What are they called?
Ad reads?
We did ad reads
Yeah.
for ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I have videos of them where like you sat in the middle.
Yeah.
Like we wrote them down and we
Mhm.
like scripted it. Abysmal. So bad.
I didn't know
Anyway,
that.
if you enjoyed watching this, please leave us a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify podcast. I also just do this from
Memory of watching people.
watching. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Wow, the human brain.
Shut up.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening, watching. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out. We're posting more clips on
TikTok.
TikTok and Instagram.
And Instagram. Yeah, I'm going to be posting them on Instagram soon. We just got started. The week was so crazy. We literally just made this before.
Crazy.
But our TikTok is just TalkBox podcast. One word, TalkBox podcast. And then our Instagram
what is our Instagram?
is TalkBox Pod. TalkBox Pod.
Nice.
We'll be posting videos soon. We'd love your support. We appreciate everyone that's watching.
Thank you.
Thanks,
so
Mom.
Much.
I stopped cursing.
Thank you so much.
Yalla bye. That was a nasty one.